Good morning and welcome to the free daily coaching hangout. Your daily hangout for mindset, tech, tips, and everything attraction marketing. We're here every morning at 10:30. Wait, remember it here at freedailycoaching.com.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Boom, coming. Whoa, boom, coming to you live. We're on the way to the mountains. It's an exciting day. Here at Free Daily Coaching, and really the most exciting event. It's my very first live event, and he was talking about. I specifically, I'm going to tell you guys in just a second what he was talking about. But I was so pumped up. I had just come off a night in my journey, and I idea who he was. I don't even know if he remembers this, but I just like walked up to him after talking. I was like, "Dude, I'm driving the bus. Like, I'm in, bro. I'm driving." Right? Like, I didn't even know. I was just like, "Woo!" I didn't know that Chris was an all-star and that he was, like mega recruiter and owner of companies and starting programs and like blowing up the internet. I didn't know. I just thought he was like the guy that was on stage that was driving the bus. I was like, "Yeah." So that was my very first introduction to this amazing, incredible marketer, and I'm so excited that over the last couple of years I've been able to develop a relationship with Christopher, and I just call him Chris now, right? But everywhere online you're going to see Christopher Hussey, and we're going to show you ways to get in contact with Chris and how you can plug into what he's doing. And welcome to the Free Daily Coaching on the Road with Christopher Hussey, Chris.
Bert, how are you, my brother? How are you? You're driving, there's a snowstorm, there's traffic, but you're free and you're going skiing and the world is rocking.
The world is rocking, right? Absolutely. And, it's because of people like you, Chris, that literally, like, paved the way, right? Like, guys like you that, like, came before me that were already doing it, that were like, "Hey, come over here, let me show you what I'm doing." And then there was that literally that model, that path, is what has allowed me to be able to do this. It was like in my imagination that I would be able to, that this would happen, that I would still be doing Hangouts 2 years later, that I would still be in the game. Like, that was in my imagination, like, man, one day I'm going to have a home-based business. And now it's real, right? Now I'm here live with you. We're going to talk about your career. And we're going to announce something that you allowed me to share with you that I think is pretty exciting that people are going to be able to check out.
Well, what's really cool is not only are you still here 2 years later, but you're here and you have a daily show, Bert. Like, you have a show, people come every day. I mean, we have attendees, they're watching you. You have a daily show. You're putting daily value into the world, man. I love it.
Well, it's something that it's something that was taught to me early on, and it's something that really served me well, which I think leads us to a really good opening question. When you decided to get into the home-based business arena, Was that your first foray, or did you jump into multi-level marketing, or did you jump in as an internet marketer? How did you originally get into this space?
So, in another life, I was a professional dancer, and I was actually well rewarded for my efforts in that arena. And in 2010, I did 27 countries and over 40 weekends, and I was paid to travel around the world. And while that sounds really cool, there's no relationships. And I met the most amazing woman on the planet, my wife, Elisa, and we just sat down and had a heart-to-heart, and she basically said, I love you and I want to spend my life with you, but I can't do that if you're on the road all the time. And so on January 1st, 2011, I walked away from that career with no parachute, just knowing that I had to find another way. And there was 6 months of struggle, but in June of that year, I was introduced to network marketing, and I very quickly started using online methods, that were being taught by, people like Ray Higdon and Diane Hochman, and some guys that you and I know in common, and the rest is kind of history.
It's crazy that so many people are at a place in their life. It's like a must, like something must change. I have to do something different, period. And when we get, it's like once that cog or that gear or that idea like is unlocked in our mind, boom, right? You're like, and the rest is history, right? And that's everyone's story. And people get so upset. They're like, well, it's easy for you because you're Chris Hussey, right? Like it's easy for you to do it because you're Chris Hussey, but you're like, well, one day I wasn't. I mean, you were always Chris Hussey, but one day Chris Hussey that was no. Oh yeah, great. You're like world. Can you get 5 people into your business? And at that point, you weren't the guy that you were today. So, what made that decision? Okay, I'm going to go do this, and you started taking the action. Along the way, you named a couple of different people that influenced you. What was a key moment? What was like a turning point moment in your business where you went from the guy that was like learning and trying to like momentum to, okay, I've got momentum, now how can I start to scale this? Was there a moment where it kind of shifted that you noticed it?
Well, so a couple different things. One, I still remember all of those moments, right? I remember the moment that the first person said yes. When we were doing 3-way calls, I remember, all those growth moments that somewhere in the back of your mind you don't believe are going to happen. I don't know if everybody has this, but I watch people on stage, or I used to watch people on stage, and I had that little devil on my shoulder going, they're not there. And then as you have those moments, and I can tell you one moment in particular that for me, it was the beginning of the rest of the story. And I had sat in a training, and this is all about attraction marketing, right? Everyone who is interested in an opportunity, especially when they're interested in a very specific opportunity. So let's say you're in a company and a person is interested in that company specifically, right? Well,
Right.
if you create videos that address singular questions about that company. If somebody has a question about a product, or they have a question about a comp plan, or they have a question about, you know, very specific things in the company, and you post those. I was in a training, and a lot of people in the online space are taught not to put their phone number on their promotions. And a lot of us want to get away from that. And I understand why. I'm not going to argue that point at all. But I was in a training, and the guy said, if you put your phone number and you tell people to call you, they will. And so I did the video, and I've deleted them at this point because I've moved on to some other stuff. But at the end of the video, I always put this message. I said, hi, my goal is to make sure you have all the information about this incredible opportunity. If you have any questions, just call me. My number is. And I will never forget the first time my phone rang. A person called me on the phone and said, I watched your videos and I'm ready to enroll with you. Like there was zero conversation, Bert. Like he just called and he said, I've watched all your videos, you're an incredible leader, send me your sign up link. That was the moment.
And when that happens, it's like the most amazing moment of life. Oh, you know what I mean? And it's not, because obviously there's so many other things that happen in life, right? Childbirth and watching our children be born and watching them grow up, but it's in our business. It's so transformational, and it seems like one of those things that will never happen. You see it happen to other people, and you're like, oh. But then when it happens, you're like, oh my gosh, this is real.
Yep.
Like I could do this.
It's a birth moment. I know that, you know, I know you use that, but it really is. Before that point, you're this baby, and then the point at which that happens, for me anyway, is like you're born as a networker. You're born as someone who gets it. It was a birth moment for me.
Yeah, it's a huge transformational moment. So when that happens, and then you're like, okay, now I know I can do this specific method, because in that method you're talking about, okay, I'm producing content that's specifically answering like one specific question. I'm targeting a specific group of people, right? These are all things that people are learning as they're marketing, and you learned it. And then once you figured, or not, you didn't figure anything out. Once you realized that, okay, if I do this content, this is going to happen, and it starts to happen, then what was the idea for like scaling it, right? Because a lot of people are like, okay, well, I got one person. Does that mean, and I made like 15 videos. Does that mean I have to make 15 more videos?
Well, you know, the thing that I struggled with, I'm just being honest, the thing I struggled with was I didn't understand the relationship building process. I understood the pitching process. I understood the buy my stuff process, but I didn't understand the relationship process. And so that was really the very first thing that I had to get over. I mean, I obviously got the training, which you are so good at. I got the training. You got to capture leads. You got to develop a relationship. I got the capture leads part going on, but I didn't understand the relationship building part, and I had to get over that. And as soon as I did, as soon as I really began the relationship part of building my business, things began to turn around. And I am drawn to duplication models. I'm drawn to network marketing, and I'm drawn to scaled affiliate models. You know, so engaging with my team and helping other people be successful, that's how I scale my income. And the part for me that was really the biggest turning point was the realization that I could hire other people to promote my content. I could hire other people to help me with social media. I could hire other people to help me with video. I could actually create a team of people who would support my business and help me scale. That was huge for me.
Yeah, I think it's a huge part for I think for anyone to really be able to realize that there and that you can scale, that you can do that you can go from the insourcing, right? Because that's what we're doing at the beginning. We're all insourcing in the beginning because that's what we have available to us ourselves until we're starting to generate enough profit that we can actually outsource. So take me through this idea, Chris, that you had some success in different niches. You started to be able to realize that, hey, I can make a focused effort and I can get a return, right? I can get a certain response based on a certain effort, and I can start to make money. I can scale that by utilizing resources and really involving other people now to help support what it is you're doing, right? So that you can reach more people. And I think it was cool that you mentioned using the telephone, because I'm a phone guy. Like, if it's for me, I would rather get you on the phone and talk to you on the phone, because then I could talk to you and see, then the other person can get to know me, to know if they want to work with me. Because there's some people right off the bat, they're like, this guy is way too spastic. He's got too much energy. He's way too high. You know what I mean? Some people are just way too mellow, and they're like, hey, that guy's off the chart. So I think that that's another fun thing that you shared using the phone. So once you figured out that you could scale it, then you started. I know that you've done different things. You worked for, as a huge team leader for different companies, and you're doing something right now that's kind of something a little bit. It's a little bit different. The model itself is something, I think, in a big global scale that we've seen other people use really successfully, because it's really truly networking. And so tell us how you got from scaling a home-based business to now kind of really striking out on your own and really doing your own stuff, like on a big scale.
When you begin getting around the right people, you'll begin to notice something. And what you'll notice is that the people in the industry who are having the most effect on other people, the people who have the most abundant lives, the people who are making the most profit, they're creating their own products. It just is it's a thing. The people that affect people, the people that have abundance, the people that make the most money, they are creating their own products. And so I want to be a constant learner. I want to be around Bert Bledsoe. I want to be around as many people as I can to help me continue to be the best person that I can be. And podcasting is creating, such amazing business today. I wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't want to just do a podcast. I wanted to do a podcast for my people. Right? I wanted to do a podcast for home business entrepreneurs. That's who I want to do my podcast for. And one of the things missing, you and I actually talked about this, is actionable items in your business on a regular basis. Actually being able to just do this. And so I came up with the idea to inspire action. So 2 words, inspire action. And so the podcast is designed for inspiration. It talks about the journey. And then every day, like you did today, our master, our home business master, actually records a video of actionable steps for the home business. So it's a 1-2 punch. It's an inspirational podcast from someone who's getting it done in home business. And it's about being with incredible people like you. And for the home business industry, it's getting inspiration. It are very successful in the industry. That's what Marketing with Masters is all about.
Well, and what a it's such a killer idea. The idea of doing the 1-2 punch, the combo. When I had first reached out to you, Chris, it was just really, it wasn't really. I mean, it was related to Marketing with Masters, but it wasn't to look to be a part of. It was really I thought you just had some really cool shirts, and I was like, wow, those are awesome, right? And then when you were like, hey man, and you started telling me about what you were doing, And then I started checking it out. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I actually told you the other day, I was listening to one of the previous podcasts that you had done, right? One of the previous, kind of listen to the format and see, you know, how you formatted and the questions and, you know, how they were interacting. And by the time I realized I had listened to the entire podcast, right? It was really like, it really was inspiring. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I didn't realize. I looked down and I'm like, wow, it's like 4 more minutes. I was like, I went to hit pause and I was like, dude, 4 more minutes and I've listened to the whole thing. I might as well, you know. It was, and then this is the funny part. It wasn't like the specific podcast I'm talking about wasn't like it was someone that I had never heard before. It wasn't like I have never heard her speak before, right? So that's gonna be an awesome one to, you know, like when that's coming through, you're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. So the one I was listening to was from a buddy of ours, Nick.
Right.
So I've heard Nick before. I know Nick, and I still listened to the entire thing. I was like, this is awesome. So you've really put something really cool together. Now, what I did was, so that everyone can check this out, I put a link to the Marketing with Masters episode and link over to the Marketing with Masters website that has the podcast that you did with me. And then there's a way down at the base of the site for them to be able to subscribe so that they can get all of the episodes, right?
Yeah, on the site, a person can enter their information, and every day we'll just send them out who the new home business master is.
Cool. Because the really cool part about this is it's tapping for everyone. In addition to the inspiration and then the action piece, we also get you're getting 2 different formats, guys. So if you're at home and you're sitting on your sitting at your desk and you have the time, boom, you get to take the action steps, watch the video, right? Maybe you're running around the house, maybe you're doing the dishes, maybe you're right, maybe the kids are playing and you're sitting in the living room and watching the little ones run around. Well, boom, you can throw the podcast on and throw it on your speakers and you can be listening to it. You know, that's what I was doing. I was actually doing some stuff, just tidying up around my front room, and I had the podcast on my speakers and I was just listening to it as I was doing some chores around the front room. So
you want to hear something really cool?
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Yeah, the telly, smartphone, Marketing with Masters app.
Just got accepted to iTunes. This is iTunes. This is the podcast app on iTunes, and we just, like, literally this morning, my wife was the first subscriber. We just got accepted to iTunes.
It's awesome. So that is sweet. What we can do is today, guys, I'll send you over in just a minute over to Marketing with Masters, over to the podcast that Chris interviewed me. You're going to get to see a really sweet video where I show you an actionable step. And then what we'll do is over in the free daily coaching group, we'll put a link over into the iTunes. We'll put a link over into iTunes, but you can look it up in iTunes, Marketing with Masters. We'll put a link up in the free daily coaching group as well so that you can really you can see the sweet logo, and you'll know right when you see the app. You'll see it right away. You're gonna recognize it right away. So we're gonna send you. Oh, boom! And Chris put it right in the chat too, so you can click on it over in the chat right now as well. So really super pumped, Chris. If you could tell the people that come to free daily coaching, because we have a pretty good crew that shows up on the regular. We have another group that comes in and watches the replays either on YouTube or Google Plus. If you could give someone an actionable step, something really super simple that anyone could just go out and do today in their home business to see some type of result, something just super easy that you've learned along the way, what would you tell people to do? Just one simple tip.
Oh my goodness. I actually recorded a video on this in 2012, and it is still pertinent today. Actually, A very, very, very prominent, very, very big multi-level marketer just announced this method as one of the coolest things you could ever do. And we were training on this in 2012. Imagine, as I'm sure some of you have, that you woke up this morning and you don't have appointments for your business. If you're in network marketing, you don't have any appointments to show the plan. If you're an MLSP, you haven't talked to anybody about anything that's going on. Whatever your business is, you don't have appointments. And you're committed to your business, you want appointments today. Here's what you do. Simple, 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 right? You go on your smartphone, okay? You go on your smartphone, and all you do, I'm going straight to the point here, is you bring up Bert's cell phone number, and you say, hey, Bert, I got something I have to talk to you about today. When can we find 5 minutes? Send. Now, here's the deal. If you do that to 20 people, 5 of them are, now this is why this is important. 5 of them are going to send you back a message, and they're going to give you the exact time to call them. See, they're not going to go back and forth, oh, let's at a time. You ask them, hey, Bert, it's Christopher. I got something I got to talk to you about. It's super important. What time can we carve out 5 minutes? Bert's going to send me back a message. He's going to say, I got 5 minutes at 2 o'clock. And then you send him a message, say, I will call you right at 2 o'clock. You'll have 5 appointments to promote your business within that first hour of your day.
Boom. So and the key is to do it to 20 people.
Yeah, so I'll give you another tip. There's this thing called abundance. And I tell the story like this. Imagine a guy who's in the desert, and he hasn't eaten for 3 days. And he's walking across the desert, and he finds a nasty, dirty, stale, saltine cracker. Well, what that guy's going to do is he's going to eat half of that saltine cracker, and he's going to catch all the crumbs so nothing falls on the floor, and he's going to try to store the other half of the saltine cracker for later because he's working from a mode of scarcity. Now imagine that same guy walks into a room, it's the size of a football field, and there is food dripping off the table. There's 50 kinds of meat, every kind of fruit, everything you can drink, and it's just piled up so high that it's falling off the table. Well, that same guy would take a bite of one thing and a bite of another thing, and he'd run around the table, and he would just eat himself full, and he wouldn't care because he's working from a place of abundance. So if you reach out one person at a time and you get denied, which happens, failure happens, then you're going to have an emotional reaction to scarcity. But if you reach out to 20 people and 5 of them get back to you, and they will, though that's how it's going to work, then you're going to have an abundant reaction, and you're going to teach yourself that it's possible. So you can't do things small. You got to do things big.
It's awesome, and it's probably one of the most profound tips ever, is just doing things bigger to actually see a result, right? Yeah. It's just absolutely profound. Well, I want to thank you so much, Chris, for taking some time out of your morning. I know you're a busy guy, and so I want to really thank you for spending some time with us. I want to give everyone the opportunity. I know you put the link in there. We're going to shoot everyone over there. Is that the, oh, sweet. We got the iTunes link. I'll copy those out of here, guys. We'll put them in Free Daily Coaching. Is there any other way for people to connect with you that's a great way for them to connect with you, or is this the best way through Marketing with Masters?
So my entire business is shifting over to Marketing with Masters. That's my sole focus. You guys can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my personal page. It's Work with Christopher. That's me personally. Or you can find me at Facebook Marketing with Masters. So marketingwithmasters.com or facebook.com/marketingwithmasters. That's the best way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again, Chris. Thank you for all the wonderful tips. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. And we will surely see you again on Free Daily Coaching, and we'll definitely see you over at Marketing with Masters each and every day for a brand new podcast. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you, Bert. Anything I can ever do, man, you just say the word.
All right, I will. Thank you. Have a
Bye,
great day,
guys.
everyone. Go out and crush it.